A team that's not comfortable in the NFC East anymore is a team that was once 7-2, who are now 7-5 after three straight losses. That's the Washington Commanders. Um, the first two games that they lost, respectfully, Pittsburgh and then
Philly.
last week Philly, but this week the Cowboys. That one is that one is where you start to wonder and worry a little bit about Washington. So I'll ask you guys. At one point earlier in the year, Cliff Kingsbury was cooking. Now it kind of seems like this offense is taking a few steps back. Um, People are not really just getting open. They're not stretching the ball, pushing the ball down the field as much. And McLaurin, as much as they had him involved, now he's not getting involved as much. Brian Robinson, the running back, has been in and out of the lineup. And we know that Jake Daniels is dealing with a rib injury that they're not really talking about a lot. But that rib injury looks like it's probably still there, and it may be concerning, even though he's still playing every game. I just want to ask you guys: are the Washington Commanders fraud? Did we have this wrong all along? They just weren't beating good teams, and now they are, and they're not good enough to beat these teams that are playoff teams or whatever, what have you. What's your take on Washington? And I guess we'll get with Nick first, but I mean, just please don't be biased with it. Then what do you think about the Washington Commanders?
Why would I be biased with it? I mean,
Because they're in your division.
yeah, I mean, do I think to say they're frauds would be, I would say they're frauds based on the expectation or the thought that they were one of the elite teams in the league. I don't think they're that. I don't think they're a bad team. But I don't think they were early. I think they're maybe a year or two ahead of actually being one of the elite teams. I still believe that Jaden Daniels has shown himself to certainly be on the rise and to be potentially an elite level quarterback in the league here. Obviously still his rookie year, and got to get through all that. Sophomore slump comes and all those good things, but I've seen enough to say I think he's got the talent and the ability to definitely be among the elites in the league here at some point, the next couple of years or whatever. And so when you have that, you have the potential to have a team that can be on that level. So I would say yes, they are fraudulent if your belief was that they are an elite team and that they're a real threat to win the East and to make a run as a contender to the Super Bowl. But as a good team, no, they're not fraudulent. I think they are a good team. They're just not a great team.
Yeah, I mean, Nick pretty much said it all. They're not fraudulent. They arrived a little bit early. If they were, I don't know, 1-8 this year, like nobody would be surprised. But the fact that we were surprised early, we put unfair expectations on that team. Listen, guys, the only significant difference between this year and last year is Jaden Daniels. He has elevated them to a status to where we put expectations on them. So that's all kudos to him. And listen, they missed an extra point from going into overtime. They lost today because they got a kick return because the kicker dropped the ball and the special team stopped playing. And then there was also an onside kick return. Like how many times, Jarvis, have you seen an onside kick return since you've been watching football? Like I can only think of
Right.
one at a time. So
I can't remember that time.
yeah, so it's just a way. I can tell you exactly when it was. It was the Colts and Jaguars. Jaguars were not about to beat them, but they stood a chance of beating them. They kicked it onside, and the Colts picked it up and ran it back. I want to say it was either a playoff game or it was a game going into the playoffs. Regardless, it doesn't happen a lot, right? But both of those things happened today, and so I'm not going to say they're fraudulent, but it's kind of tough to also to lose a game because of special teams, because you didn't play hard on special teams, right? Like special teams is the one thing you should definitely always be playing hard on. So, no, they're not frauds, man. They're just here early. They'll be fine. We've asked Nick a couple of times on the show, should he be afraid of them? I'm sure the answer is an overwhelming no right now, but the Commanders are okay. They'll be fine.
Yep.
Well, if you remember, now to be fair, it's been no the whole time. Even while they were leading the division, I was like, it's going to be okay. We good. Don't worry about it. If you remember, we can roll the tape back. I was saying that. And so, like I said, I'm not surprised to see them come back to earth to an extent there. Like I said, they are a good team. They're just not a great team yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So the Washington Commanders have now dropped 3 straight. They're 7-5. I'm not looking at the remainder of their schedule, but they're going to have to come on with it and get it together because there are a lot of teams that are close to that 7-5 record that they're at, and we'll be trying to push them out of a playoff spot if they don't win the division, which it doesn't look like they're going to do as of now. The Eagles are comfortable.
They are sitting at the 7th spot as of right now at 7-5.
You see there, it's at the 7th spot. And 3 weeks ago, we couldn't imagine that because they were probably like a 3 seed at the time, 4 at worst. And now here they are, almost bumped out of it. But we still got some more weeks here left to go. It's already week 12 in the books. But yeah, Washington, I agree with everything you all said. They're not fraudulent, but man, they definitely got to pick it up and get some things going here. And Cliff Kingsbury, I said as much as I want to go with the Commanders to win the division, and I did, I didn't trust Cliff Kingsbury. He's got to get it back cooking because they haven't really been cooking.